Welcome to the True Man Podcast. This is an invitation to radical reconstruction of a man's masculine heart and soul in a place of safe community where we dare to ask questions deep seated inside a man and explore ways to help you become a better man, a better son, a better dad, and a better spouse. Well, welcome back to the True Man Podcast. Always love seeing you here. Thank you for coming back week after week after week. And by the way, if there's something you'd like me to talk about, I always love the opportunity to get requests from the audience. Just send me an email at mike@truemanlifecoaching.com. I'd love to get your ideas. What do you want me to talk about? I want to keep my finger on the pulse of what's hot out there. What is it that you want to learn more about? I'm curious. I may want to learn more about it. And by the way, a great place for you to go get any additional information on what's going on in the True Man community is at truemanlifecoaching.com. So go check that out. You can, of course, get to the podcast from there. You can get my books on there. Go check out True Man, True Ways, a roadmap of discovery to the masculine heart on my book page. Hey, buy it. Do it. How about doing that in your men's small group? I think it would be a great way for you to learn and do life together. Well, here we are, mid-April, and as you probably know by now, we're working our way through a series this month. This is the third week of that series, and today we're going to talk about what you didn't lose, the power of redemption. That's podcast number 236 here, and it's important because it leads to, I've been taking bits and pieces from my story, and then next week we're going to bring it all together, and you get to hear a little bit more about my story that has occurred over the last 30 years. But in the meantime, let's see if we can help you with this idea around the power of redemption. And I'm going to start with, as I commonly do, a question, because I think it's important to ask a lot of questions. What would your life look like if you were finally free from your past? Now, you may be sitting there right now going, well, I'm good with my past. I don't know. I don't know what's gone in your world, but are we really ever free with our past? There's always one or two things it feels like that are lingering out there. But what would your life look like now if you were finally free of your past? Not managing it, not coping it, and not pretending that whatever happened to you didn't exist. Free, completely free. So again, for the last 2 weeks, we've been doing something that most men avoid. We've been going backward so that you can finally move forward. Week one of this April, we exposed the weight, the thing that you've been carrying, the thing that you were never meant to carry this long. Week two, we broke the lie, the story you've been telling yourself about your past that isn't actually true. And now today, we step into something most men don't fully understand. This was a huge challenge for me at a certain point. Redemption. Oh man, it's more than taking your can back to the store. No, we're talking about your life redemption here. But let's be clear about something right out of the gate. Redemption is not forgetting. It's not pretending something didn't happen to you. It's not erasing your past. Redemption is this: taking what was broken and allowing God to rebuild it into something stronger. It just feels good to say. How does it feel to hear? Don't you want God building something stronger in your life? Well, you're going to have to take some action. And it's not all about going back. It's about going forward. That's what this is about, with a completely different identity. So let me take you back into my story. I've been kind of weaving this in over the last 3 weeks, and you're going to see it come to life next week for sure, because this isn't theory for me. This is real. You see, I was 20 years old standing at the crossroads of life, either stay in Iowa or chase a dream at the University of Arkansas. What was a dream? I just wanted to be a college basketball coach. It's all I ever thought about, all I ever dreamed about. It was all I wanted to do. Well, of course, I chose the dream. I stepped into something bigger than myself, something that I thought would define my life as I knew it at that point. And for a season, it did. I was around a top basketball program, living a life most young men would say yes to in a heartbeat, having a blast, having a lot of fun, having a lot of fun, maybe too much, right? But here's the truth. The fact that I was having too much fun was part of the problem. I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't equipped for where I was at, and I didn't know how to handle it. I lacked discipline. I lacked direction. And if I'm being honest, in a lot of cases, I lacked integrity. I got caught up. The environment, the lifestyle, the attention, right? My ego was being fed. And along the way, I made some decisions I'm not proud of, a young knucklehead for sure. And I didn't do it because I was trying to be a bad man, but because I hadn't yet become a strong one as I reflect on it now. And eventually that kind of caught up to me. And I remember sitting in the athletic dorm one afternoon after the season had ended, everything quiet, everything stripped away. Season ends. Sometimes you just don't have anything to do in the afternoon. And for the first time, I had to face myself. No noise, no distractions, no identity to hide behind. Just truth. Just facing me right there in that moment. And I knew I couldn't stay where I was. So I did something that didn't feel strong at the time, but perhaps one of the strongest decisions I've ever made. I left. I packed everything up, I got in my car, and I drove away. No certainty, no plan, just a quiet knowing that this was probably the right thing to do, despite all the doubts that I was feeling. And here's the part I think that most people don't talk about. Even when you make the right decision, it can still feel like a loss. And at that point in my life, I was all about wins and losses. There was no gray area. You win or you lose. And I was not a good loser. Well, that decision that I made, it followed me for years. Not because it was wrong, but because I didn't fully understand it. I carried it, not loudly, but consistently. I replayed it. I questioned it. I wondered what could have been. And if I'm honest, a part of me stayed there until now because something shifted. As I prepare myself to, strangely enough, something I would have never guessed, I'm preparing to move back to Arkansas after 30 years. And I've come to realize something. I'm not going back the same man. I'm not that 20-year-old punk know-it-all kid anymore. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a man who's been shaped, refined, tested, and strengthened. And for the first time, I don't feel the weight. I, in fact, feel peace. And that's what's really hitting me right now. This isn't about going back, this is about redemption. Let me explain it to you this way. We all have an old friend, something from our past, a place, a decision, a season, something that we haven't fully revisited, perhaps in a while, not because we can't, but because we don't know what we'll feel like when we do. And so we leave it alone. But redemption doesn't avoid the past, it, in fact, redeems it. And it allows you to go back, not to relive it, but to see it clearly, to understand it differently, to recognize what you thought was a loss was actually a turning point. Isn't it interesting how God works in this universe? That what you thought disqualified you was actually developing you. That what you thought defined you was actually preparing you. You know, friends, that's redemption. It's not removal, it's transformation. And here's where most fellas miss it. You don't experience redemption until you stop running from what needs to be redeemed. You've got to face it. You got to look in the mirror and you got to face it. Not emotionally, not dramatically, just honestly. You've got to look at that moment, that decision, that season, and say, that didn't break me. It built me. And here's the truth: God doesn't waste anything. Not your mistakes, not your failures, not your detours. He uses all of it. Every step, every wrong turn, every moment you thought disqualified you, he redeems it. Scripture is full of this. Men who failed, men who ran, men who got it wrong, and God didn't throw them away. He restored them. He rebuilt them. He used their story as the foundation for something greater. And he's doing the same thing with you. He's doing it with me. Here's the key: we've got to receive it. We've got to receive it. Redemption is offered, but it must be accepted. You've got to let go of the old identity, the old you. You've got to stop carrying the weight. You've got to reject the lie, the things that the devil tells you in spiritual warfare are simply a lie. And you've got to step into the truth that you are not who you were. You are who you're becoming. And that is a man being shaped by God for something greater. So here's the question: what would it look like for you to go back and see your past through the lens of redemption? Not regret, not shame, redemption. What would it change? How would you see yourself differently? How would you show up differently? How would you lead differently? Here's what I know: the moment that you embrace redemption, you stop looking backwards and you really start moving forward with clarity. You stop questioning your worth and you start living with confidence. You stop carrying the past and you start building towards the future. Guess what? That is freedom. And that's what this is all about. So as I step into the next chapter, leaving Georgia, moving back to Arkansas, the place I left so many years ago, I don't go back with regret, none at all. I go back with tremendous gratitude for the lessons, for the growth, for the man that I've become. Man, if I could do it, you could do it. And I go back with new perspective. Welcome back, old friend. This time, I see you differently. This time, I understand what you gave me. This time, I'm here to build something new. And for you, this is your moment to stop running, to stop caring, to stop believing the lie, and to step into redemption because it feels good. And friends, what was old can be made new, not erased, redeemed. And that is the life you were meant to live. Isn't it's not that everything's behind you, it's that it's in front of you that's important. Recognize that through the power of redemption. Well, thank you for being here again this week. Wow, that was a lot of fun. Man, I have had so much fun the last 3 weeks, and we're going to bring this all together. In fact, next week on the fourth podcast of the month, episode number 237, you're going to hear the complete story. We're going to bring this all together. I've been giving you bits and pieces all month, but we're going to bring you the complete story and talk a little bit about outside of just going to Arkansas, what else is new? What else is new? But I hope this is helping you. These are personal stories that I believe have merit to help you because I'm not unique. And I believe we're all going through something similar. Similar. Not exactly alike, but we've all gone through something similar. And it can be powerful to hear these stories. And I recognize that. And I appreciate you allowing me to tell these stories. Well, friends, I'm going to keep packing. We're almost to the finish line here. When this podcast, when next week, when that fourth podcast of the month comes out, believe it or not, I will be closing on my home in Arkansas. So that ship will land then. But come back and join me next week and hear a powerful story about my journey over the last 30 years. Listen, God bless you. Thank you for listening, and go out and make this your very, very best day forever.